Okay, it's 4 o'clock on Thursday, September 8th. We have a quorum, barely, but we have a quorum nonetheless. So I will call the library board meeting to order. First item on the agenda that we have in front of us is the approval of the agenda. Now, since we barely have a quorum, I expect everyone to be speaking up today. Everyone gets a chance to chime in. So, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, any other business that needs to go on there, April?
No.
Okay, so having a motion and a second, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Now we have the approval of the minutes from last month's meeting held on August 11th. Hope everyone's had a chance to read through them. And I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion, corrections, edits? All right, hearing none, then all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Now we'll get into the financial report for August. April?
We are 66.58% through 2022, and our budget is approximately 52.31% expended. Some of the bills we paid during August include $3,525 to Dirk's Windows for window and power washing, $105.03 to Verizon for the library's 3 hotspots, the service to those. And we paid $170 to the Minnesota Library Association for an institutional membership for the library. Now, we are receiving honorariums for both Lisa and Catherine to attend the conference from TDS, as well as the Friends have decided to support some of that with funding as well, some of their costs. So we may be able to cover that $170 depending on how those total costs for the conference come out, because it is required to have a membership to get the membership rate for the conference. So. At our last meeting, Carl asked about a dollar amount that the library budget is unspent. As of September 1st, when I ran this report, we're approximately $136,650 underspent for 2022. Some of this is due to large bills that we'll pay later in the year, including our TDS membership fees, which are about $17,000, the $30,000 budgeted for carpet replacement, and our meeting room furniture replacement, which was budgeted for $9,000. And we also did not have assistant library director salary for the first few months of 2022.
So even taking that all into account, we're still going to be underspent.
Yes.
But not by as big of amount when these bills hit.
Right.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to note that I attended 2 city council budget work sessions, one in late August and one on September 6th. And there weren't any comments on the proposed library budget for 2023 at this point.
Okay. So then going forward for the financial report, are you going to include this paragraph that shows the dollar amount underspent and any outstanding big bills that we may have? Or was this like a one-time only?
It was in response to Carl's question, but if the board would like to see that information, I certainly can.
I think it would be at least having the dollar amount there.
Okay.
And then, notification of the outstanding invoices that will be hitting sometime later in the year, and just continue to carry them on if they haven't come through yet.
Sure, I can do that.
Great. All right, any questions on the budget or the financial report?
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I found it helpful too, to see a dollar amount. All right, so let's jump right into the librarian's report. We'll start off with the department activities report and statistics.
Roof replacement on the south section of the main library building is pretty much complete. They're doing some finishing work. They've been back a few times the last couple of weeks for that. We were able to remain open during that project. It was a little noisy on a couple of days, but we were able to have normal operations in the library, so that worked well. Megan has been working on planning an inventory project for staff that's due to TDS by November 1st as part of our cleanup of our integrated library system and our databases before we move to migration to Evergreen in March of 2022. So we've been doing weeding in all of our collections as well as other cleanup of items that have been long missing or are damaged. And then we'll be doing an inventory where we're scanning all the items in our collection. Our statistics for August were up in the areas that are represented on these charts for your information. So our computer usage, our circulation, visits, even our website visits were up during August. So we had a really great month. And that was even with taking a break from children's programming after the summer reading program was over. So we're continuing to add back our patrons who are coming back after the pandemic. I wasn't able to include the YouTube statistics in the board packet because of the timing of when those drop from YouTube. But for August, we did have 56 total views from 46 unique viewers. We didn't add any videos in August to our site. And we have total subscribers are 42 and the total impressions, so people kind of looking through those videos is 1,199. And then I'll note on the library department statistics, the request for study rooms is on page 15 of 34 of your packet. It's the second one to the bottom. That's a new statistic we've been tracking as we look towards that possible project of adding a standalone study room. So in August, staff recorded 7 separate requests for a study room at the library. Are there any questions about the report or statistics that I can answer at this time?
So I saw that you had attended an effective and efficient meetings parliamentary procedure, and I had asked you about how we were doing in terms of running the meeting, and you said, yeah, we're doing fine. So that's good to know that we're not deviating too badly from proper parliamentary procedure. Because when I came into this position a few years ago, I just recreated what was already being done, and I didn't know if that was really right or not. All right, so let's move on to the summer reading program then.
Catherine put together this report for the board. This is our final statistics. So she went through it in some detail about program attendance based on whether they were registered or non-registered, and then some of the circulation counts and reading log numbers. I just want to point out that our total attendance for our summer reading programs, all the different events that we had and activities, were 1,165. We had a total circulation count, and this is all materials in the library, as well as our overdrive statistics for the 8 weeks of the program were $22,480, or for 22,480 circulations. And then we handed out 457 reading logs and had 141 completed. And it's pretty typical for the number you get returned completed to be much less than the number you hand out, as patrons kind of get busy with other things during the summer.
All right, any questions on the summer reading program? So overall, it sounded like it was fairly successful.
Yes, I'm very pleased with how the summer went. This is the first time we've had in-person activities since the pandemic, and it was just so great to have kids and families back in the library and just be busy like that again.
All right, let's move on to programming then for the next month.
All right, September 2022 programming calendar is in the packet here, and that information can also be found on our website, newulmlibrary.org. On September 16th, we're holding a drive-in movie at 10 a.m. in the meeting room for preschool and younger children. They can come decorate a box car, and then we'll have snacks, and they'll watch a 30-minute video. So that'll be their drive-in movie. And then on September 14th, which is next Wednesday, from 2 to 5:30 PM, we'll have an emergency preparedness fair from 2 to 5 PM at the library. Representatives from the American Red Cross, the fire department, and other Brown County Emergency Services will be there to talk about how to be prepared for an emergency and to share some of the resources that they have available. And then on Thursday, September 29th at 7 PM in the library's meeting room, the Armstrong Boulevard Brass Quintet will present an Edvard Grieg classical recital. And they received a grant from the Edvard Grieg Society of the Dakotas in order to provide that program for us.
All right, and just a reminder that we voted on the library being closed on the 30th
Yes.
for all day for staff training.
Yes, and we will be open normal hours on Saturday, October 1st.
All right, any questions on programming? All right, hearing none, then let's jump into the action items. This is where all the fun is. The first one is Resolution 2022-22, approving recommendations to use additional fund balance funds for furniture purchases. The library board budgeting using up 9,000, or I think it's used up to 9,000 of the library's fund balance for furniture purchases in 2022. These funds were designated to purchase tables and chairs for the library's meeting room and for new tables for the public computer area. After researching several options from different vendors, the library director has determined that the budgeted 9,000 is not sufficient to make these purchases. The library director requests that the library board approve using up to 17,000 from the fund balance to purchase new tables and chairs for the library's meeting room and postpone purchase of new public computer tables. The library board was budgeted to spend up to $12,000 from the fund balance in 2022 for window washing and power washing, but the actual cost of that only came to $3,525. So there's a surplus on that. So I'm assuming that you wanted to use some of that surplus then to swing over into buying the tables and chairs?
Correct.
And then, let's see, so that'd be about $9,000 there, added to the 9,000 that you originally budgeted, so that gets you about to the 17,000 that you're looking for.
Right.
Okay.
I did request quotes on a couple of combinations of tables and chairs from one vendor who was actually the least expensive vendor. And that's for 50 tables and 50 chairs and 12 tables. And depending on which type of chair we purchased, those quotes came in at $12,307 or $13,613. We're still looking at the options that are available to us to make sure that we're purchasing something that will last us
Right.
a long time, that's going to meet our needs. And so I'm not sure that this vendor will be the one we eventually want to go with, but those are some sample costs I was looking at.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes you gotta do your due diligence because you get what you pay for. So if you go with the lowest vendor and stuff like furniture like this, it may not be as robust as you want it. And after a few years, you're replacing things.
Right.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to use the additional fund balance funds for the furniture purchases.
So move.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
All right, any further discussion or questions?
I think that the chair cleared this up, but just to make certain, he had budgeted $9,000 and you were talking about a number of 17,000. So you wanted a total of 17,000, not an additional 17,000.
Correct, a total of 17,000.
And just another clarification, then, you also took out the public computer tables from the scope of this purchase, correct?
Right, I don't feel that those are as necessary at this point in time as the meeting
Okay.
room furniture.
All right, any other questions? All right, then I guess we'll take the roll.
Sarah?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Bernice? Yes.
Yes.
All right, motion carried. And we'll move on to the second resolution. 2022-23, awarding the bid for carpet replacement. The library sent requests for bids pertaining to replacing carpet and bookshelf moving in the library's children's room. Bids were sent to 2 vendors and posted on the city's website. 2 vendors submitted quotes. The library asked for the following information: removal and installation of carpet, cost of subcontracting with bookshelf movers to use lifts that move shelves of books to clear the area, and then also how many days to complete the process, and commercial package for the listed carpet material. The bid totals came in as follows. Hiller's Flooring America came in at $20,466. Rickway Carpet came in at $22,170, but they would provide an additional $800 discount if Shaw Industries carpet tile is selected. As part of the 2022 budget, the library board approved the use of up to $30,000 from the library's fund balance for this project. It is indicated in the budget under 211-5500-500153, library interior renovation. The library director recommends closing the children's room while the project is completed. Children's programs scheduled during this time will move to the library's meeting room or the Fred Johnson room. Library traffic tends to decrease in the fall. And then there's the proposals are attached, and it shows the Hiller one shows the breakdown of the $20,466 that they bid, which includes the carpet tile, attic stock, taking up and hauling out the old carpet, removing old glue, floor fill allowance, which is like a leveler to help with keeping the floor nice and smooth, a reducer, 4.5-inch rubber base, and then moving and resetting the shelves and the furniture. And they indicated it would take 3 days to complete the project. And then the second bid from Wickway Carpet, they came in, their price, they didn't have a breakdown like Hiller did, but they did indicate this is the $22,170 was for material, labor, and base, moving all furniture and putting back, removing and disposing of existing carpet and vinyl base, and the materials per spec with Milliken. But then if they switch to the Shaw Industries carpet, we can deduct $800. And they did not indicate how much time it would take to do the project. Did you get any feedback from them as to the? Okay, so unknown as to the number of days. I then also asked April, who have we used in the past for carpet projects, and she's indicated that Hiller has done a couple of them, and then we did, what was the other?
Lumber was.
Yeah, Pullman Lumber was the other one, and they decided to not bid on this particular project. So, there's the information on that. So, any discussion, questions regarding either of the bids, both of the bids?
April, did the RFP specifications ask for the bid to include the amount of time the project would take?
It did,
It did,
yes.
and we didn't get that from Wickway.
No, we didn't.
So is the Shaw Industry carpet the preferred one? Or-
I think they contract with Shaw to offer that product because some of the correspondence I received was from representatives at Shaw connecting me with Rickway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just a lower quality, it's just that they may get a better contractual deal with that. Okay.
You've been happy with the work that Hiller has done?
Yes, they completed the project in the adult fiction area last fall, and they did an excellent job. We're on schedule. We're easy to work with.
Now, you had mentioned that, okay, so this is for the children's room, right?
Yes.
And we had talked about, at the last meeting, then we talked about the shelving in that area being kind of iffy.
Yes.
So is this going to be, will that shelving be replaced before this, or
I don't know exactly what the lead time is on the carpet from either of these vendors. I know it was, I think last year it was 6 to 8 weeks it took them to order. We're working with Library Furniture International for that shelving, and it's gonna be pushing December 31st for their lead time with materials.
Okay, so would we then wait till we get the new shelving to put in the room when it's done? For fear of if they move the existing shelving, it
When
may
they,
fall apart or,
when Hiller moved the shelving in adult fiction last year, they don't really move it. They lift it up,
Oh,
work
okay.
underneath it, and then put it back down.
Okay.
I don't know if Rickway would be using a similar
Okay.
process. So for Hiller anyway, it didn't include moving shelving, just lifting it up.
okay. So do you feel that's gonna be a problem with the condition of shelving then?
I'm not so concerned with that. I think they'll still be able to do it just fine. My preference would be for the carpet replacement to happen first and then the new shelving to come in, but I
But
think
that's
either order
unknown at
would
this
be
point.
okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, any other questions?
I saw
we'll-
the one line item that Rickway had, they just talked, I feel like we've talked about this before, but they have it noted in their workers' comp and public liability insurance on the above taken in, out by Rickway. I'm guessing that's probably the same with Hiller?
Yes, we didn't talk about that in specifics, but
Okay.
if they were awarded the bid, I could certainly confirm that with
Great.
them.
Okay. All right, so I will make a motion that we award the bid for the carpet replacement to Hiller's Flooring America for a number of reasons. One, they came in at a lower price, and in the past, we've used them before, and we have had no complaints. They've done good work, and they've met all the criteria that we asked them to. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, then we'll take the roll.
Yes.
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 All right, motion carried. Thank you. And then you keep us updated, April, as to all the specifics, logistics as to the whens and maybe we can luck out and have the coordination of the new shelving.
That would be ideal.
It would be nice, but things don't always work that way, but you never know.
Right.
All right, and the final resolution, 2022-24. And this is first reading, so I'm assuming this is not an approval then? This is just for our review, and then we'll do a second reading and approval
Yes, the October meeting.
next month?
Yep.
So approving the 2023 library fees and fines schedule. The City of New Ulm annually revises its schedule of fees. As part of this, the library is required to update its fees and fines schedule. The library director proposes the attached schedule for 2023 fees and fines, which includes the following changes: removing the $5 per day overdue fines for the Library of Things and Wi-Fi hotspots. Also remove the note about the maximum Wi-Fi hotspot fine. And then also exclude magazines from the $5 processing fee for lost or damaged items. Changes proposed by the library board members will be incorporated after October's second reading and adoption. The schedule then will be submitted to the Finance Department for final approval for the City Council. And the attachment shows the fine schedule, the fees and fine schedule, with the changes noted, being the overdue Wi-Fi hotspot per day went from $5 per day to 0, and then the maximum fine of $50 on a hotspot taken out as well, and then the overdue Library of Thing per day from 5 to 0. Everything else looks to be the same, correct?
We also added a note, no processing fee for lost or damaged magazines.
Oh, that's right, yep. So we will vote on this next month. So now, what was the reasoning behind removing the overdue on the Wi-Fi?
Well, we went fine-free on most library materials at the beginning of 2020. We don't have any fines budgeted in our 2022 or 2023 budget, so we're not expecting to receive any revenue for fines. We have not really collected a lot of overdue fines for these items, and it's kind of confusing our patrons when we say, well, we're fine free, but except for these two things.
But you get a fine on this one, yeah, okay.
We haven't noticed major issues with patrons having long overdue items. Our patrons, they want to come in and use the library ongoing, so they're not trying to keep things forever or anything like that. And with the hotspots, when a hotspot is overdue, we get a notice that triggers library staff to go in and suspend service on those. So that's usually the signal enough beyond any overdue notices for those items to come back as well, because they're not being used once they're disabled.
Okay, so then that kind of inspires them to return it then?
Right.
And then there is I see that we still are maintaining the Wi-Fi hotspot replacement of $100, so
Yes.
if they should lose it or something happens to it,
Right, and that would be the same with the Library of Things. We would still charge for replacement of those items. And then just to note, excluding the magazines from the $5 processing fee for lost or damaged items, a magazine value is usually $4 to $5. When our normal processing fee is $5, and so when a patron comes in and says, I lost this magazine, and they're being charged for $10 for it, they often find that to be an unreasonable request on behalf of the library. They're fine paying the replacement for the cost of that item, but the processing fee really is just kind of a fee that is not going to get used in any way, because we can't replace that magazine usually, because that issue is done and gone.
So with overdue items, when they come up, if a patron comes in and they're checking out other books, are they prompted, asked about this being overdue at that time? Okay.
Yep, we usually, a lot of times, if the value of that item is over $10, the system will not allow us to check anything out to them without overriding that. And in a lot of instances, we, we'll work with the patron and they'll say, oh yeah, I have that at home, and we can renew it for them as long as no one has requested it, to give them the time to still check out that day and bring the item back.
Right. Nice.
any other discussion or questions?
I did just want to note that this change to the fine and fee schedule would require changes to language in the Library of Thing and hotspot policies, because they both mention those overdue fees. So I would bring those changes to the board before the end of 2022 if you approve the changes to the fine and fee schedule.
So ponder on that, and then we'll be voting on it next month.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and since there was no other business, nothing has cropped up between,
We did skip over item 4.4, the Brown County Library
Oh.
Board update.
yep, we did.
Carl and I attended that meeting with the Brown County Commissioners in August, and the Brown County Library directors and members of the community kind of shared our need for the increase. We requested $2,000, and the commissioners were in favor of that increase. They did have some questions about, the kinds of costs that are going up, and they asked specifically about the Library of Things. Commissioner Borkert has been in the library and knows that we have that service, and just wanted us to share about that to the other commissioners. But the end of the meeting, they were in favor of the increase as they built that budget.
So are other libraries using the Library of Things then, or? Have they-
No, that's just specific to us. We don't send those items in the courier or anything. But he was curious about that service in New Ulm. Carl, did you have any?
Well, I would just
comments?
like to add that it was encouraging to see the number of people that attended that particular budget hearing meeting that the county board held specific to this request from the libraries of the county. The room was packed, which is good to see, and a lot of folks spoke up on behalf of the libraries in their communities and how important they are to the vitality of their communities. And it happened that I saw Commissioner Borkert a couple days later, and how impressed he and the rest of the commissioners are that people in that number attend those budget hearings. And I think that's good for us to remember as we go forward, that we do our best to try to encourage not only members of this board, but also members or patrons of our libraries to attend those meetings, because they do help encourage the commissioners to look favorably upon our request.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No.
All right. So if nothing else, then we'll consider this meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.